On this episode of AV Week, repurposing rental staging gear to help dealers and also help live events workers who have been impacted. Cisco takes a look at the as-a-service model and when and how the AV industry will recover after COVID. All that and more next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 470, recorded Friday, August 21st, 2020. Nothing new.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Kramer, AV Beyond the Box, and by
Draper, focused on innovative solutions.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audio, visual news, and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to discuss the news and information we have gathered this week, first and foremost, you know him as Brock McGinnis from AVWeek. Welcome, sir.
Hello, Tim. Good to be here.
Thank you, sir. Only way I can see Brock, because he's up in Toronto, and neither of us can cross at least the Canadian-U.S. border. Brock can go anywhere in the world he wants, but us big dumb Americans can't. Kelly Perkins is a fantastic marketing person and does all kinds of really cool social media, including our social media. So thank you, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for that awesome intro. I appreciate it. I'm now blushing.
No, don't blush. And last but not least, a young man that I got a chance to meet this week happens to be our buddy David Danto's new boss. His name is Darius Jones from Poly. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. Really excited.
Absolutely. Thank you. And if you get a chance, check out the big crossover event that we at AVNation did along with Mr. Danto and Poly and a bunch of other folks, the AV Jam guys. Mr. Netta was there. Neil from Poly over in the UK was there. It'll be posted on our site. It'll be posted on Let's Do Videos site with Mr. Maldo. And I even think the UK, the AV Jam guys' site. So check it out. 2 hours. Darius was on a panel along with Zoom. And then I got a chance to do a panel with a bunch of really smart consultants and industry analysts. And then Chris tried to moderate the rest of us yahoos. So, which was interesting. So anyhow, first story comes to us actually from our friends over at AV Network, SCN. AVIXA has released a new report looking at both the sales index as well as the employment index coming out of 2021 and coming out of 2020 and going into 2021. According to the report, quote unquote, sales index reached 53.7. This represents an increase of 3 points from June, indicating that mark was at 50 points, which is actually even higher than what had happened in April and May. According to AVIXA and according to the report, they are forecasting that even though there was a dip in the March, April, May timeframe, it is trending up, and most likely both employment as well as AV sales will recover sometime in 2021, possibly as late as 2022. Mr. McGinnis, we'll start with you. You've been around this industry a long time. You've seen your fair share of setbacks and downturns. What do you think? What is your forecast based on your clients, the integrators, but also the folks that you're talking to?
I'm very conservative about forecasting, Tim. I don't think that a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago we had any idea that there would be, more than 5 million coronavirus cases in the U.S., that more than 170,000 people would have passed because of it, and that coming into September, we still wouldn't know if it was safe to send kids back to school, and so the unknowns about when people will fully return to offices, fully return to manufacturing production facilities, are still there, and I think that the AV industry got busy because as we came into the summer because of pent-up demand. There were, projects that were stalled and needed to be completed. This is all stuff that was already in the pipeline. And I'm concerned that new pipeline activity is not really starting, at least on the construction side. Maybe we don't feel those effects until late 2021 or 2022. But I am in the no growth or contraction camp at this point.
So is this little bump that we're seeing? Is it an anomaly? Is it just kind of a bump up? In other words, in a road, and it's going to go back down?
Well, the statistics are already out of date.
Okay.
You know, they were likely collected 6 weeks ago. At this point, I think they were talking even about, you know, early June kind of indicators, um, and we've all, I think, firmly believed that this coronavirus thing was just going to go away, and it was going to, you know, it was going to fold its tent and back up, and everything was going to be okay. And the longer that we persist into this current business climate, where a lot of industries are still really just treading water and trying to keep their, you know, their nose above level, the more uncertainty it causes. Uncertainty stops businesses from making plans. And while there's going to be a ton of activity, you know, in the Toronto large employer market, for example, people are not returning to high-rise office buildings at this point until 2021, January 2021. And the 20 largest employers in Toronto, which is the third or fourth largest metropolitan area in North America, have all committed to keeping people home, keep the number of people on transit down, you know, minimize circulation, and as a result, minimize risk of community spread. And there's going to be a lot of work, you know, when those people do return to those offices, reconfiguring and adapting to, you know, to new styles and ways of working together safely and collaborating in person safely, which of course we all want to do. But I'm not looking for us to get back to previous levels, and particularly, you know, the skyrocketing growth that our industry has enjoyed for the last decade. I think that at best we can hope for plateau, at least until the world feels safe again.
All right. Kelly, same kind of question. Kelly works with a lot of manufacturers, but also manufacturers reps. So both from a regional standpoint as well as a national standpoint, what are you seeing?
I mean, I guess on the manufacturer side, I guess it depends on what you manufacture, like USB cameras, headsets, video conferencing type, you know, stuff. It's
all good.
Yeah, I think it's great. Things are going great for those guys. You know, I work with a couple integration firms across the country and even one up in Canada, and, you know, they seem to be doing all right. But I think, you know, I think it could be like what Brock said, it's in the funnel, but, you know, or it's been in the pipeline for a while. I think everybody scrambling to go back to school has been a big opportunity for the integration firms, because teachers, school districts, I mean, you talk to anybody that works in education and it's different everywhere. Nobody knows what they're doing. So they're looking to other people for help. You know, I hear a lot of really positive comments from people, but, you know, for every 5 positive comments, then I get another phone call of, we had to lay X amount of people off, or we're not going into the office till 2021, or we can't participate in this or do that because we don't have enough cash on hand, or so-and-so is looking for a job, you know. And then there's that piece of it, but then, you know, you have to remember the whole live production side of stuff too. I mean, is that included in this as well? Like,
I can't imagine that it is. No.
So, I mean, it just really depends on who you're talking to. I think, you know, being conservative, I mean, I'm scared. I think a lot of people are. And, you know, but I try and take it day by day and be happy that I still have work and that my customers are still getting work in the door. But I don't know how, like Brock said, if this is 6 weeks old, I don't even know how we can forecast, because we don't even know what's happening next month.
Yeah. Darius, to give folks a little bit closer statistics, last week the U.S. government announced that jobless claims did crest over 1 million again. It had gone under 1 million for about a week or so, but it is over 1 million now. when you're looking at this and you're talking to your customers, and Poly does make a lot of those, we were somewhat commenting about the fact that if you sell USB cameras, things are going well. However, you still have customers and you still have dealers that are looking at, as Brock said, not going back to work, not going back to the office, or maybe their customers aren't. So when you're looking at this and you guys are forecasting, what are you looking at, and what are some of the metrics that you guys are using to say, this may not hit, it may not recover until the middle of next year or whenever you guys think it is. But what are the metrics that you're really looking at?
Yeah. So, 1/3 of the team that I represent is the strategy team. So very much, in their center court. And, I listen to Kelly. I think everyone's scared, right? When you talk to customers, this is an unprecedented event. And I think I have to throw a dime in the cuss jar because everyone's used that word so much. But it truly is, right? 2020 as a year is an anomaly. So we would normally look at unemployment figures. We would normally look at real estate figures. We would look at a variety of things in this portfolio of kind of a market view that says what's going to grow, what might contract. And I think all bets are off, right? If anyone said that we would be dealing with fires, a pandemic, an oddly formulated election, and a variety of other things that are going on in 2020, I think we need a comet and aliens to visit, and then we have the perfect formula. So we've decided to just look at what's customer demand. We're intimately involved with a lot of large organizations planning, and all things that Brock and Kelly said are true. What we're noticing though is that demand's not going away. It's kind of moving around the portfolio in kind of nebulous ways. So, a customer who was planning a phone rollout is now planning a headset rollout to support a UC, deployment. A customer who was planning on an open office deployment is looking at hybrid working and is saying, hey, people aren't going to come into the office just to meet. People are going to come into the office because they have something to do, which may include meeting, and that open office now becomes a huddle room of one, right? And so I think the demand is going to still be there. It's about creatively meeting that demand and having the flexibility to move throughout the customer demand segments from USB kind of personal devices all the way up to room systems that are probably going to serve a slightly different purpose. That's kind of how we're looking at the opportunity. The traditional demand signals are there, but I'm not sure that those demand signals are extremely accurate at this point.
Thanks so much for watching the first segment of AV Week. To check out the rest of the episode for free, click on the link below or go by the website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.